Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso, and today we're introducing the second half of our interview with Mitch Stevens. Mitch is a real estate investor that has purchased over 2,000 homes in his 25-year plus career, and like we mentioned before, just a wealth of knowledge.
So he buys on average one house every 4 days.
Yeah, crazy.
And a lot of what he's doing is he's using other people's money. So he has a great system, and I think it's awesome that he's willing to share it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what were some of your takeaways?
My takeaways, I think it's going to be in this second half of it, but it's his Moat Theory. How good was that? I loved the visual representation that he had of just building your house, right? And then building a moat around it and just being able to defend that moat. And really what he talks about is learning how to fail without going under. Mm-hmm. And he gives an explanation of that you guys are certainly going to want to hang around and listen to. So,
and what I liked about in regards to that moat is that he had a goal. Like before that, I need this amount of money per month.
Mm-hmm.
And he got laser focus on that. And and when you become laser focused, that's all you start thinking about. And then you start making decisions that are going to help you get there. So I thought that was cool. And another thing he talked about at the end is that there's a lot of teachers, there's a lot of books, there's courses and coaching. And I like what he gave advice to somebody is to start reading, mm-hmm. right? Get as much free stuff as you can, right? Then start doing it, right? Maybe you got to pay for a course, but start doing it. And once you prove that this is something that you're passionate about, that you know that you can do it, getting that coaching can help speed up the process, right? And so, and he talks about real teachers, which reminds me of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Fake, mm-hmm. is talking about we need to be taught by real teachers. And what he means by that is not people that are reading out of a book, that have that book knowledge. A real teacher is somebody who has been there and done that, right? Was in the position you were in and became somebody, or at least on the business side, of what you wanted to come to be. But you know what he also said that I never heard anybody talk about is you want a coach that you want to be like in business and their non-business life, mm-hmm. right? Which I do think is very important. Man, this was great. I enjoyed this. I'm still high from all of his stories and his passion.
Yeah,
like his passion
he was
is just
excited.
encouraging.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome. Hope you guys enjoy this episode as we wrap up part 2 of our interview with Mitch Stephen.
And if you remember from part 1, we had a few minor audio issues. We're going to try to tamper them down, but believe me, that inconvenience is worth it. Enjoy the episode.
Take care.
All these big, huge $1 million goals shrunk down to one first step I had to do. If I was ever going to be rich in this world, which I wasn't sure if I was going to be wealthy or I wasn't. I wasn't sure if it was in the cards for me, but if I was ever going to be rich, the first thing I had to do was I had to get financially independent, which meant I had financial independence is defined by when your wants and your needs are exceeded by your cash flow. And it should be a relatively passive cash flow, although the word passive, your wants and your needs are exceeded by your passive income. I eliminated the word passive and just said cash flow because I don't believe anything's passive. At that point, when I had $3,500 coming in, so that's all I had to accomplish in my whole life in the United States of America, the greatest country in the whole wide world, was to get $3,500 to come to my mailbox, whether I got out of bed or not. Then I could quit my damn job and free up 2,600 hours a year so I can figure out who the hell I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do on this planet. And when I get intense about it was because it really gets down to that. Before you can find out who you are, you have to solve this problem of how to pay for your little freaking cost of living in the greatest country in the world. And we live here in the United States till we're 65 and 70 and at the corner of prosperity and success, right on the damn corner. And 90% of us never figure it out. because we've made it so damn easy, and we teach people jack shit in school, and we don't teach them anything that's right. That, you know, we teach them how to be slaves, and we become slaves. So you want to talk about getting out of the box? There's your first box you get out of. Quit working for anybody else. Figure out how to figure out what your budget is. So here's the thing. You got your moat. In about 7 months, when I narrowed all this big ass $1 million ideas and shit down to all I got to do is get $3,500 coming in, I was able to accomplish that in like 6 months, because it just shrank the challenge down to achievable in your own mind. And that's the first thing you have to do to achieve anything, is to believe you can do it. And I wasn't so naive to think that $3,500 was that much money in the United States of America to get coming into your mailbox. And once I decided it was feasible, I went and figured out how to do it. It took me about 6 months. After 6 months, I quit my job. Now I got 2,600 hours a year to figure out real estate investing and to go further in whatever that little thing was that I chose to get $3,500 a month coming to my mailbox. I was really become damn good at it now. You know, $3,500. If I can get $3,500, I can get $35,000 a month coming in. I just need to figure out someone to tell me how to do it. How do you do it? How do you do that? You know, and now I got time to follow them around, whether I get paid or not. So then anytime I made any money over the $3,500, that was now just R&D money. I could drop the drawbridge, charge out, and lose all the money I had over my $3,500 a month. It wasn't shit. I went out there to try a new idea. When I got out there, I figured out, damn, there's a whole lot more of that enemy than I thought. And they got shit that fires further than I thought it could fire. And it explodes a lot louder and a lot bigger and really hurts a lot when it goes off in your face. So I turn around and I start charging back towards my castle. I go over the drawbridge, I pull it up. But guess what? Everything inside that moat, because I didn't risk what pays for my moat on this adventure into the wilderness, I was able to come back with a place that I could recuperate. I didn't have to worry about if the bills were paid. I could heal. I could start to rebuild my reserves again. And everything's going to be okay. And when I got rested and I figured out what I did wrong and I came up with a new plan, a plan B that was better than plan A, I could drop the drawbridge again and go back out. And if I failed again, I could come do the same thing till I figured it out. How many times will you drop the drawbridge and go out there before you were ultimately successful? And so I was trying in this book, inadvertently, I was trying to figure out how to fail without going under, because I knew failure was going to be part of the process. And so I've developed a thing called the Moat Theory, and it's just that simple. You get enough income coming in to pay for to replace your job, then you quit your job, then you never risk that income again. Anything you make above and beyond that, you can go out and try any damn thing you want to. And if you fail and lose it all, it's just money at that point. It's not just money when you fail and you lose your house, you lose your car, you lose your wife, you can't support your kids. That's not just money. That's a whole different stress. So I form the moat to eliminate those pressures. And then I go out as an entrepreneur with anything above and beyond that. And I don't have a gun to my head. Like if you lose you're dead. I couldn't function under those terms. So the biggest thing after the first book was, how do you buy so many houses? So then I did My Life in 1,000 Houses, 200 plus ways to find bargain properties. I didn't even know how I found all these houses. I would go back to the office and go, how many ways do we find houses? We'd name 10, and then there was 15, and then there was 20. I said, well, how did we find that house? Okay, now we got 21. 199 ideas later, I documented all the different ways I've found houses. Actually, there's 215 ways in this book, because I know some jerk's going to count. So I
probably some CPA.
Yeah. And then I got the book that I really wanted to write, which was My Life in 1,000 Houses, The Art of Owner Financing. And I'm talking about buying houses with OPM at 50 cents on the dollar, and then seller financing them to your buyer at 100 cents on the dollar, if not 110 cents on the dollar, because you don't have to have an appraisal when you're the lender. And this book sells for $20, the first one. The second book on how to find houses sells for $30. This book sells for $50. People come up to me and go, why in the hell does the smallest book sell for the most amount of money? I said, hold on. Set the book down, step away from it. You're not ready. This book's worth $1 million friggin' dollars. If you don't want to pay $50 to figure out what my 27 years is, then stay away from the book. You're not ready. You don't understand anything at all, and you're certainly not going to understand this. And I don't mean that to sound pompous. I'm just saying the book's $50 for a reason. It should be $1,000, but it's $50.
Mitch, in addition, right? So we've got the links to the books. And in addition to the books, where can somebody go if they're looking to create, right, their first 3,500, as you had referenced before?
Man, I have podcasts, YouTube channels. I did a YouTube for 9 months. I published a 10-minute segment on how I make money in real estate every working day for 9 months in YouTube. You know, the link will be over there in the show notes. I have a podcast. I interviewed over 500 people that I thought were interesting, either real estate investors, entrepreneurs. You can find it all at 1000houses.com. And there's a little tab there. I think the homepage is free stuff. And you can scroll up and down the homepage with more free stuff than you can imagine. I mean, the gurus out there tell me I give away too much. This is what I say. If I give away everything I have, there's still going to be a certain amount of people that realize trying to figure out an industry from a manual and talking to the man who built an empire is two different things. And that's, I'll give away enough to launch a career. You can get the first 100 pages of this book in a download instantly at that free stuff. You can get, I don't know, there's more stuff than I can remember. Real estate owner financing webinar 101. It's 45 minutes with slides and case studies right out of this book, you know, The Art of Owner Financing, talking to you exactly how I do it. I mean, I'm really not holding back anything. It's just, there's only so much you can put in a book, you know?
Now, Mitch, can this, so you're doing this in San Antonio. Can this be done outside anywhere?
There's places it works better than others for sure. It usually works best in the flyover states. If you guys aren't familiar with those, when you go from California to Florida, everybody you flew over is called the flyover state. They're usually in the middle of the country. They're armed to the teeth with guns and don't want you messing with them. So they're called the flyover people. Okay. So, you know, it helps if they don't have liberal laws or governors, because you're going to be loaning money to people and you need to be able to get your asset back from people who don't pay. And in liberal states, they make that very difficult. Like, try to repossess a house in California. You know, good luck. It could take months. It could take years. Florida, you know, it could take 6 or 7 months or 6 or 7 years in Florida, depending on how they lawyer up and how bad mistakes you made. There's also ways to do it in those states, but different than the way I do it. And I teach that, and I can show you what your risk is. I mean, you know, you can use land. Florida's a big land trust state. So you could, thinking out of the box, you could put a property in a land trust, and then you could sell the land trust on installments. Did you sell a house or did you sell a land trust? Because the only thing in the trust is the house. So you'd sell the 100% beneficial interest of the trust on installments, and then you would have an argument. It's a little bit deeper than that, but you see what I'm saying? I know, because I have students around the country, and I'm not a millhouse. I'll take maybe 12 one-on-one students a year for 25 grand. But I interview these people extensively. I'm probably not going to take a newbie. I'm not going to take a newbie. For 25 grand, I'm not here to figure out if real estate's for you. For 25 grand, you need to have a damn good game, or you need to have a game at a certain level. And I'm going to show you how to up the game more than $25,000 so you can get your money back and more. So I'm going to do this 45-minute interview. And if I don't think that I can up your game 25 grand, I won't take you. We'll do something else. You can get on the weekly call for a lot less money, or we can do something else, but I'm not going to take you one-on-one for 25 grand if you don't have a game. I want to be on a winning team. At this point, money's not my issue. Like, if you gave me another $1 million right now, I mean, yeah, it'd be a good day. but it ain't going to change anything I do. Not one thing. Won't change where I live, won't change the car I drive, won't change nothing. So at this point in my life, at 60, I need an emotional reward. I need to be here for a higher reason than just money. And my higher reason is to help change people's lives for the better. What I know how to do is very nichey, and it involves around real estate and seller financing. And if you're in that arena and you need a boost and I think I can help you, then I'll take you. If I don't think I can help you, I won't. Because what I need is to get a phone call from that person that paid me 25 grand one day and say, damn, son, you just changed my whole life. Mm-hmm. That's what I need. That's what I need. The reason I charge 25 grand is I can't find those people if I don't charge. When I was giving it away for free, people were sucking me dry and no one was buying one house. They weren't doing anything. Mm-hmm. So the $25,000 is a hurdle that if a person can get over that hurdle, they might have a chance of me coaching them, because I need to still find out if I think I can help them. They may be in the wrong state, and I might say, you're perfect and everything, unless you want to move your business to a different state. You can't do it in California and Los Angeles. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath house is $600,000. The owner financing doesn't work like that. We need affordable houses.
So Mitch, what I'm hearing, there's different levels to somebody to learn what you're doing. One, the basic is the book.
The basic is the online course. There's the books. Okay. You can learn from that. But the basic 3 levels is there's an online digital course that's evergreen, which means I can change when Craigslist quits working and Facebook starts working, I can change the module out. So it goes from that, but that has no contact with me. That's just the digital delivery of course. That I tell you everything I can think of. And people have launched careers from that course. But a lot of people say, I still need to talk to you and ask questions. So then we have a weekly Q&A call that includes the course, but includes the weekly Q&A call, where every Tuesday night at 7:00, I'm on that call, or my partner's on that call. Every other week we switch until everybody's questions answered. And it's recorded, and it's digitally archived, and there's over 500 hours of archived Q&A calls so far. And then that's like $3,500 for the year. If I can't up anybody's game $3,500, I'll kiss your butt. I'll fly to wherever you are. And you can drop your pants and I'll kiss your butt. I mean, that's the easiest $3,500 in the world. If you're remotely serious about this business, and one thing it may do is it may keep you from losing $10,000 faster than I can help you make $3,500. But either way, you're better. And then the last level is $25,000. You get my phone number. There is no regimented times or anything. You call me when you have a question. You call me when you're looking at a house. Just run it by me, because you may be looking at a house, and I've had people before say, I said, why didn't you call me? You bought this house? He said, yeah. I said, you've already closed? They say, yeah. I said, why didn't you call me? He said, well, it's just a regular run of the mill. I said, tell me about the deal. They start telling me, I said, did you put this clause in your contract? Did you put that clause? He said, well, no, I didn't think. I said, that's why you need to call me. You don't know what you don't know. Just tell me what you're doing. And if it's run of the mill, I'll go, well, I can't think of anything right now. But chances are you're going to tell me what you're doing. And I'm going to go, ooh, don't do that. Let me tell you what's going to happen if you do that. Let me tell you, why don't we try this? If you're putting out signs one day, just call me and tell me what you're doing. I put out more signs than most people ever put out in their lifetime. I know things about signs that you'll never know. I already told you 2 of them, and you didn't know them, did you?
No. I think he gave us 3, but who's counting?
Mitch, I do got to ask. This has been burning since you brought it up. I'm picturing your wife trying to leave you, looking at the clock for the 30 seconds.
Yeah.
How many times you hold that over her head?
Well, we've been married 30 years since then, so it's kind of dissipated. But yeah, because she was always, look, that's one of the things people ask me about this book. Are you sure you want to put this book out? You've said some pretty harsh things. It wasn't just my wife. There were lots of things, and even things that could be looked at as degrading myself. I'd made a lot of stupid moves. People ask me, are you sure you want to put this book out? And so I would go to my wife and I said, someone wants to know if you're okay with everything that's been said in here. And she'd read it again and go, well, it's not pretty, but it was the truth. Mm-hmm. And so the truth of the matter was, I was married to a non-entrepreneur who I had to drag into entrepreneurialism like a cave woman by the back of her hair. And she was kicking and screaming the whole way. I mean, my wife made $35,000 a year when I met her as a headhunter for professional companies. And she used to call me screaming, when are you going to get an effing job? When are you going to get a job? I'm like, I made $40,000 last month. You make $35,000 for a year. I do not understand the logic here. Why do I need to get a job like you? I made what you made in a year and a month. But that's the brainwashing that they do to us. Mm-hmm. And that's how severe it is. I know what I'm telling you sounds irrational, that you don't think, well, Mitch is making that up. No, my wife used to call me screaming. I make $15,000 a month. Say I didn't make 40. Say I made $10,000 a month. She'd call me screaming, why aren't you getting a job? I'm like, I make $100,000 a year at the pace we're going. You know?
Yeah.
So yes, I held it over her head for a long time. Not just that, but a lot of things. I said, she was, well, she'd say, why didn't you ask me about doing this? I said, I already know the answer. It's no. Your answer to everything is no. Your answer is to get a job. That's not where I'm headed. So I'm not going to ask you because I already know. And so, if I'd have said no to this, one day my wife said, I had about 200 storage doors. I had built it up from 1,500 to 200. And she said to me one day, okay, can we quit doing storages now? Do we have enough? I said, do we have enough? No, we don't have enough. I said, we'll have enough when it's Monday and we wake up in the morning and you say, we've made the collections for the storage today and there's nothing else to do. What would you like to do today? That's when we'll have enough. So a couple of years went by and she's sitting on the edge of the bed and she's pouting, crying. She has her bottom lip stuck out. She's imitating pouting, crying. And I said, well, what's wrong, baby? She says, there was no checks in the mailbox today from the storage. And I said, oh. One day goes by with no checks and now we're disappointed. I said, we're getting there. So I bring this up because it's a problem for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying the way that I handled it was right, because probably it isn't, because a lot of things I do isn't really politically correct or right. But I had made up my mind. I was going my direction. And if you didn't want to get on my train, then you're going to have to just hang on till it got there and you could get off or you could jump off. But I wasn't slowing down and I wasn't going to put up with any crap about which direction I was going. And I knew that I would take some wrong roads. And if you didn't want to live through that with me, then I didn't need you anyways. It's a ballsy stance. But I was 34 years old when I came to this conclusion. I had tried a lot of things. I was a hard worker. I tried a lot of businesses. I couldn't find myself. And then so I had to ratchet myself up to a different level. And what I did was I took having a job off the table. A very influential old man in my life named Carlos Bolito was a Cuban refugee, a Cuban prisoner of war, got captured in the Bay of Pigs, fighting against Castro, trying to take freedom. He got imprisoned as a traitor to his country, because Castro dubbed them pigs. I asked him how he survived that 2 years. And he said, the human body is the most adaptable thing in the world. And if you give it just enough protein and just enough water, if you can keep your sanity, if you can keep your mind, the body will figure every single thing out. So that haunted me. And that's when I got the courage to take having a job off the table and make my body figure out what it's going to do. Because as a job, I was kind of capped at a glass ceiling of about $15 an hour back in the day. And I was not, no matter how hard I worked or how much money I made people or how diligent I was or innovative I was, they never rewarded me to the degree that I deserved or that I thought or at all. And sometimes I did such a good job, they were able to eliminate my position. And so, you know, in Carlos's case, to keep his sanity, he had to keep from going insane because they're beating him every day. They're starving him. They're doing this. All I had to do was keep my mind and not say yes to a job, no matter how tough it got. That's all I had to do. Because the chances of me not getting enough food in San Antonio, Texas, that wasn't going to happen. The chances of me not getting enough clean water, that was never going to happen. Okay. So all I had to do was keep from letting myself I had to make myself not get a job. And if I held myself in that position long enough, I would force my body to figure out how it was going to win. And because of his statements, and I believed he was right, I did that. I made myself not get a job. I took it off the table. Like, there's no way in hell I'll be dead before I get a job. Now, what are you going to do, body? Well, how are you going to figure this shit out? And it did. It figures everything out.
I was going to wrap up this interview with a question on what advice you'd give somebody that's a beginner. But man, I think that might be it right there.
No, that's too harsh. And also I want to explain that I did that when I didn't have kids and I didn't have a wife, you know, at the time. I made this kind of commitment. I was by myself. It's a little tougher when other people involved, although there's probably no excuse. You should probably do it for them. You know, I've had people say, well, I can't do that because I have kids and children. So maybe you should do it because you have kids and children.
Yeah.
But so my advice to the new people out there, whether I'm your guy or not, I mean, you can go to 1000houses.com and get a whole bunch of education, but here's my advice. You study as much about whatever it is you want to do. And if it's creative real estate investing, then study all the different strategies. Get everything free you can get on the internet. There's a lot of free stuff. Beware, there's also a lot of free bullshit. So you got to have your bullshit radar kind of set, because, you know, just don't believe everything you hear. If it doesn't sound right or someone sounds kind of jicky, maybe they are. I don't know. You need to figure it out though. And then you start to narrow it down to 1 or 2 or 3 strategies, then you hone in on those, and then you narrow it down to the one strategy, and then you just drill straight down on that. You don't look at anything else anymore. And if you, when you get down in that well, if that's working, you think that's going to work for you and your market, then it's time to buy a course from somebody. And then once you know for sure, and you've made a little money from that strategy, and you know this is the way you want to go, that's when you hire a coach who has done what you want to do and is still doing what at a level that you wish you could do it. And make sure that that coach that you pick is the kind of person that you want to be on and off the field, because at the end of the day, their practices off the field are going to intersect with their practices on the field at some point, probably sooner than later. So make sure that they're the kind of person that you would want to be on and off the field. And then that's when you pay. Ultimately, education is not free. I don't care. It might sound free at first or whatever, but you're going to pay for the education one way or the other. You'll pay in lost opportunity. You'll pay in lost time. You'll pay in mistakes. You'll pay in all kinds of ways. Or you can hire a coach and pay, and it'll be a lot less anxiety and you'll get there faster. And if you hire the right coach, it should just be money out and then money back. Also, when you hire that coach, know up front, am I going to get him, or is he going to sub me out to someone who's done 20 houses and read out of a book? There's 2 different calibers. I mean, I'm not a Millhouse. If you pay me, you're getting me. And I got 27 years of experience. So when you talk about what that buyer and that seller's, that conversation between you and them, the hairs on the back of my neck start to stand up, because you're talking to someone with 27 years worth of experience. I might say to you, all right, man, this is what I need you to do. Go buy a shovel at the hardware store. Go to the back left-hand corner of that property, dig a hole 4 foot deep and 4 foot wide, and call me back. They call me back and go, Mitch, how in the hell did you know that was buried there? And I say, because I've talked to assholes like that before, and I know exactly what he's trying to do to you. I know exactly. Because of 27 years. Now, if you hired a coach who's only done 20 houses under the big guy's name, and you got a coach that's only done 20 houses in their life, they're never going to know what's in that 4-foot hole in the backyard. They don't have enough experience to know. Just know what you're paying for. Either way is good, and you can get ahead either way, but be sure what you're getting. And that's
Mitch,
it.
With 27 years experience, I feel like we just scratched the surface here in the last 45 minutes or so. We got to have you back.
Cool. Anytime. There's a whole multitude of topics we could talk. We didn't talk about tax-free future or the IRAs, where you move money and do tax-free or tax-deferred benefits. Also, I have trained a lot of private lenders that they can self-direct their own money and start to take control of their own financial future and invest in what makes sense to them instead of letting these yahoos on Wall Street. So tax-free future, that'll be a link over there if you're interested in that. Then Livecom, LIVECOMM.com. I sell my houses at an average of 4 days on the market, and I don't put any signs in my yards anymore. So there's a reason. You can watch that'll all be over there too in the show notes. Watch the videos on Livecom. There's links over there to look at both of those products. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being on.
Yeah, we had a blast. The time went by fast.
I'm going to start putting out some signs on my way home. For sale? Question mark.
Right. Well, get ready for the call. You're going to get the call.
I'll record it and I'll bring it back as a follow-up.
You're going to be called everything but your name.
That's kind of what it is here. All right, Mitch. Thanks again. This was fantastic, and I love what you're sharing and how transparent you are. And I think you're going to be an inspiration to a lot of our listeners.
Well, I hope so. But like I said, if I'm not your guy, just find a different guy. I'm not for everyone. No one's for everyone. You know what I mean? So, if you decide to try me, I'm going to do my best, and I won't. If I don't think I can help you, I'll tell you, because I don't need to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time either. So, if I don't think I can help you, I'll tell you. Which is a lot different than a lot of the mill houses, because they don't really care. They just want you to get the credit card out. I'm in a different ballpark.
Awesome, Mitch. Thanks.
All right, man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Go make it a fantastic day.
Take care.
All right. Bye.